Hello, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. And I just want to notify that if you have not subscribed to my channel, do not hesitate. Just make sure you click that subscribers button right now. Thank you very much. And today I will be taking you through quadratic equation and how to construct the quadratic formula from the general form of a quadratic expression. In my experience, and I've actually discovered that this is one of the difficult aspects for students because they can actually derive the quadratic formula, which is, just say for instance, x equals to minus b plus or minus the root of b squared minus 4ac everything over 2a. So this is the quadratic formula. That's the name of this formula. So we have x equals to minus b plus or minus the root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Then this expression, we have as squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So we call this the general form of a quadratic equation. The general form, don't forget that the general form of a quadratic equation. So we are going to derive this formula from this. Now you might be wondering, how is this possible? And I want to tell you that it is possible. Just stay with me as I take you through. All right, from here, so we have ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. Now the first thing you do is to take the constant, which is c, to the right hand side. So you take this plus c, which is the constant, to the right hand side. So we now have ax squared plus bx equals to minus c. Because when you take the plus c to the right hand side, it becomes a negative c, which is minus c. Then the next thing you do is divide through by the coefficient of x squared. You divide through by the coefficient of x. So the coefficient of x squared is a. So what you do, as squared divided by a plus bx divided by a equals to minus c divided by a. So the a here cancels a. So we are left with x squared plus b over ax equals to minus c over a. I hope you are with me. Alright, let's flow together. Alright, the next step is to add to both sides, the left hand side and the right hand side, half of the square of the coefficient of x. The coefficient of x is b over a, which is plus b over a. That is the coefficient of x. Now we are going to add to both sides half of the square of the coefficient of of x, or you can say square of the half of the coefficient of x. Now this is it. We have x squared plus b over ax. Then we add it to the left hand side first. Now the coefficient of x is b over a, so we have b over a. Then the half of it is when you multiply by half. You have times 1 over 2, then everything all squared. I hope you understand this. When you multiply by half or you divide by 2, it means the same thing. So half, this is half of this coefficient of HB over A, then you square everything. Then equals to minus C over A plus this same expression here, which is B over A times 1 over 2 all squared. I hope you understand this. Alright, so let's quickly rewrite this. So we have x squared plus b over ax plus, when you do this, you have b over 2a, everything all squared, equals to minus c over a plus, this becomes b over 2a, because b times 1 is b, a times 2, you have 2a, everything all squared. So we are actually arriving gradually to our final answer. So the next thing you do is to factorize this left hand side, because you now have a perfect square. You have, this is a perfect square. And I'm going to put a link below, or maybe subsequently I'm going to post some video that I'm going to teach you how to convert an expression to its perfect square, or from a perfect square to the perfect square root. So this is a perfect square. How do we convert this? Now the simple method in which you can factorize this expression in the left hand on the left hand side is you take the first here, which is x squared, and you take this that has b over 2a everything all squared. You bring them together. Now when you bring them together, you're going to have x plus, because we have a plus here, plus b over 2a everything all squared equals to minus c over a plus b over 2a everything all squared. I hope you're understanding this. Now when you expand this expression, this x over x plus 2b over 2a everything all squared, you are going to get back this expression here, this whole expression. So that's how you factorize this left hand side. So we have x plus b over 2a everything all squared equals to minus c over a plus b over 2a everything all squared. I hope you understand that. So now let's deal with the right hand side. So we have equals to, so we have x plus b over 2a everything else squared equals to minus c over a plus, now you open the brackets here. So we have, if you recall the laws of indices, the squared affects both the numerator and the denominator. So we have b squared over 2a all squared. So let's work this right hand side. So we have equals to minus c over a plus b squared over this square here. A denominator affects everything inside this bracket, that is product power law. So we have 2 square multiplied by a square. So we have minus c over a plus b square over 2 square gives you 4 times a square. A square is a square. So we now have b square over a square, and b square over 4a squared equals to, now let's just make the positive. If you apply the laws of board mass, let's make the positive comes first. So we have b square over 4a square minus c over a. So the same expression here, this is it. I hope you're understanding this. So when you bring this down, you will have x plus b over 2a squared, the same thing, x plus b over 2a all squared, x plus b over 2a all squared. So we have it this way. So what do we do next? So we have x plus b over 2a all squared equals to, you work the fraction on the right hand side. So the LCM of 4a squared and 4a squared and a, you have 4a squared. Now 4a squared and 4a squared is 1 times b squared, you have b squared minus 4a squared divided by a, you have 4a. 4a times c, you have 4ac. So when you work this further, the next thing you are going to do is to square root both sides. Alright, so this now, I'm going to turn this to the other side of my book. So we have x plus b over 2a all squared equals to b square minus 4ac over 4a squared. So we have transferred this to the other side of the book. So what do we do now? We square root both sides. So when you square root both sides, so you have x plus b over 2a all squared equals to, now when you are introducing a square root, you're introducing a plus or a minus sign. That is how we got this plus or minus sign, because you have introduced the square root sign. You square both sides, you also introduce the plus or minus sign. So we now have b squared minus 4ac over 4a squared. Now the square here cancels your square root, so we are left with x plus b over 2a equals to plus or minus the root of b squared minus 4ac over 4a squared. Now let's deal with this right hand side. So we have x plus b over 2a equals to plus or minus. Now when you work this out, you have the root of b squared minus 4ac, also the root of 4a squared. because the square root affects the numerator inside the root and the denominator inside the root, I had to split them. That is rule. Now the next thing you do, you still work the right hand side. So we have x plus b over 2a equals to plus or minus. So we have b squared minus 4ac, because that can be broken down any further. Now you have 4a squared root 4a squared root 4a squared. So if you break this down, you still have the same thing as root 4 times root a squared. Square cancels square. Now what is the root of 4? We have 2. So we have 2a. So when you solve that, you have over 2a. So the next thing you do is to take this, let's x be alone here on the left hand side because you're looking for x. So x becomes minus b over 2a, because you're taking this whole expression here, b over 2a, to the right hand side. So you have minus b over 2a plus or minus this, that's the sign there, b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So we have that. So the next thing you do now is to bring these two expressions together because they have the same denominator. Which is 2a 2a. So the LCM of 2a and 2a, you have it as 2a. So 2a divided by 2a is 1. 1 times minus b, you have minus b, plus or minus 2a divided by 2a is 1. 1 times this whole expression, you get that same whole expression. So I have b squared minus 4ac. So with this, we have arrived at our final answer. In other words, you can prove all the way from as squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, which is called the general form of a quadratic equation, to this, which is called the quadratic formula. Now, I used to know it as the almighty formula. So if you have any questions concerning this, just make sure you ask them in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, subscribe to EMAT, so you can be notified whenever I post new videos. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and also comment, share the videos. Thank you very much.